Have you ever noticed how ambition can make almost anything sound reasonable? At first, it rarely looks dangerous. It sounds intelligent, strategic, necessary. Just one compromise, just one shortcut, just one decision that feels small enough to ignore. And that is how it begins. Not with something dramatic, not with a sudden collapse of values, but with a quiet voice that says, "I have to do this. There is no other way." The moment someone becomes obsessed with reaching a goal, something subtle starts to change. The destination becomes so bright that the road almost disappears. And once that happens, people begin to convince themselves that any path will do. If the outcome is good enough, the method no longer matters. That if they win, nobody will ask what it cost. But that is exactly where many people lose something far more important than the result. They lose character. And the strange thing is that they often do not notice it at first, because ambition can be very persuasive. It knows how to dress questionable choices in elegant language. It calls betrayal strategy. It calls manipulation intelligence. It calls selfishness survival. It calls dishonesty doing what it takes. And the more emotionally attached someone becomes to a goal, the easier it becomes to justify things they once said they would never do. That is one of the most dangerous parts of ambition. Not that it pushes people forward, but it can slowly make them blind to what they are becoming while they chase what they want. Not everything useful is right. That is a truth many people only understand after they get what they wanted, because some victories leave behind an emptiness that cannot be ignored. From the outside, they look like success, a better position, more money, recognition, influence, applause. Everything looks impressive, but inside, something feels heavier than expected. Why? Because some victories are built on betraying principles. Some are built by stepping over people who trusted you. Some are built by crossing lines that should never have been touched. And when that happens, the reward often carries a hidden weight, the kind that follows you into quiet moments, the kind that shows up when there's no audience, the kind that asks a question many people spend years trying to avoid. Was it worth becoming this version of myself? That question is difficult because success can hide damage very well. The world often celebrates outcomes. It pays far less attention to the path that created them. We admire the person who arrived. We applaud the person who won. We celebrate the person who made it, even when they destroyed everything in their path. And over time, something dangerous happens. Blind admiration starts turning unhealthy behavior into something normal. People begin to respect what should make them uncomfortable. They call ruthlessness strength. They call coldness discipline. They call moral compromise ambition. And little by little, we begin confusing power with worth. But arriving somewhere does not automatically mean you arrived well. Some decisions can move you forward financially, socially, and professionally, while making you smaller morally. That is one of the hardest truths to accept, because progress and growth are not always the same thing. Not every rise is evolution. Sometimes rising means you lowered yourself first. And that kind of success creates a very particular kind of loneliness. Because even when people admire you, you know what they cannot see. You know the conversations you betrayed, the truth you bent, the values you abandoned, the person you had to silence inside yourself. And once you know that, external approval cannot fully erase internal conflict. That is why integrity matters. Not because it makes life easier, it does not. Integrity is expensive. Sometimes it means moving more slowly. Sometimes it means losing opportunities that looked easy. Sometimes it means watching others advance while you refuse shortcuts that could have helped you. Sometimes it means saying no when yes would benefit you. Sometimes it means walking away when staying would reward you. And in the short term, that can feel unfair, especially when the world seems to reward speed more than depth. But integrity gives something that shortcuts cannot: peace of mind, a kind of inner steadiness, the ability to sit alone with yourself and not feel the need to explain who you became, the ability to look in the mirror without creating stories to justify your choices. That peace is quiet. It does not attract attention. It does not trend. It does not impress crowds, but it has enormous value. Because many people spend years chasing things they believe will make them feel fulfilled, only to discover that what they were really missing was peace. And peace is hard to find when you have to betray yourself to get where you are. Character reveals itself precisely there. Not when doing the right thing is easy, not when there is no temptation, not when there was nothing to lose. Character reveals itself when you have a real chance to do something wrong, and you know it would benefit you. When you could take advantage, when nobody would find out, when the shortcut is available, when the reward is visible, and still you choose not to do it. That is where character lives. Because values are easy to talk about when they are not being tested. Anyone can sound principled when there is no cost attached. Anyone can speak beautifully about honesty, loyalty, and integrity when sacrifice is not required. But holding on to those values when doing so costs you something. That is different. That is real. That is what reveals who you are. And maybe that is why honorable people are often misunderstood. From the outside, they may look slower, less aggressive, less celebrated, less willing to play the game. But often, what looks like weakness is actually strength. Because it takes discipline to resist what could help you immediately. It takes maturity to think beyond immediate rewards. It takes courage to protect parts of yourself that the world keeps asking you to sell. And perhaps that is the deeper question ambition should force us to ask. Not only how far can I go, but who will I become while getting there? Because reaching a destination means very little if the person who arrives no longer recognizes themselves. Not all means are worthy of every end. That truth separates success from honor. And that difference matters more than most people realize. Success can impress others.